I am resident of Collinwood for YouTube Jewel Saints. That is Samantha Lomusico. I got that right, right? Right?
Close enough.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm bad with my own name. Um, but we are here to talk the werewolf storyline. I believe Alan and Patrick are going to join us later. Uh, so, Samantha, we have Don Briscoe here. Now, initially, he does play Tom Jennings, who gets turned into a vampire. But he also, while that storyline is kind of in a sense still going on, Tom's still on the show as a character. I do love the fact that they have Don Briscoe pulling double duty in a sense. They introduce him as Chris Jennings. It scares the hell out of Joe Haskell. Uh, he's like, Joe, it's me, Chris. It's Chris. I'm not Tom. So what did you think of Don Briscoe pulling double duty here, playing Chris and Tom Jennings?
A great idea. Um, and when he first showed up, when Don Briscoe showed up as Tom, I was not gonna lie, I was like, oh, this guy's my type. He is cute and
Yeah.
kind of just boy next door. And then to see him turn all dark and to become the vampire was a great twist. And
Mhm.
then they do the other twist of, oh, I have an identical brother. And it turns out they weren't twins. Apparently, Chris is supposed to be 3 years older than Tom. I just learned,
Ah,
I was reading the wiki,
yeah,
which is why Chris is the afflicted one.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It's really interesting. Uh, there's Alan. So, Alan, we started. So I asked you this question: what
Yep.
did you think of Don Briscoe playing double duty? He plays not only Tom Jennings, he plays Chris Jennings as well, which is really cool. What did you think of that?
Well, I thought it was a cool soap opera idea. It's been done before, they weren't really twins.
Right.
It was never said they were, but they kind of were because Anyway, the whole twin thing played by one actor concept has
Nice.
been done many times. It was done by the Chandler brothers on in Pine Valley many years later. um, where one of them was a uptight oligarch, millionaire kind of guy, and the other one was his touchy feely brother who was not considered as smart as he was, and all of this sort of thing. And of course, it was the touchy feely brother that ended up the happiest, of course, at least for a while. Anyway, this was a great opportunity. Don, apparently, from all accounts, really loved his time on Dark Shadows. He really loved being on the show, and having the opportunity to even play both characters on the same day at one point. Was it must have been pretty cool. But yeah, and then of course the werewolf deal, which is what we're dealing with on this particular podcast, is Chris Jennings, and so he's already played out the Tom Jennings vampire thing. Now he gets to play the werewolf. Although he's not really playing the werewolf, he's playing the guy who turns into the werewolf, and I think he does a great job.
Yeah, for those wondering, Alex Stevens, stuntman, is going to be your werewolf, which is usually the case with with modern day werewolves now.
Well, especially when you're shooting a live show, you have to have somebody to sub in for the hairy guy because the makeup takes so long to put on.
Yeah. Uh,
I
Samantha
didn't,
has, if for those who can see, it has her picture change from where it's the werewolf from Chris James. That is really cool. That is really awesome.
you.
You're welcome.
The
All
first
right,
time
if
I
you want.
also really did change. I really thought it was Don Briscoe in makeup. It took me until I went on to Facebook and like, oh no, that wasn't him. That was a different guy. I was like, well, that makes sense. But I really did. If I believed it.
Yeah. There's an actually a really good interview online with Alex Stevens when he was on What's My Line. I think it's still on YouTube. I don't know. It was, and he came out dressed in full makeup as the werewolf,
He
and
was the mystery guest, so they all
yep,
had their
Yep.
blindfolds him.
Yep. He was the Mr. Ghost, and he's talking through the mask. Like, no, they're like, okay. And they said, take off your blindfold. And there, he slowly took off his mask, but they showed his other stunts too. Um, Now Liz does see the werewolf. We hear the sound of the growling sound when Liz goes outside. There are a lot of victims, obviously. I think doesn't Mr. Wells get killed by the werewolf? I think
He's the first victim. After Chris is going like, oh yeah, I like the room with the bars on the window. Give me that room,
Yeah.
And so he does the whole shtick where he's worried about turning into a werewolf and blah blah blah, and and we don't see the werewolf in that particular episode at all. So we're really tantalized by the whole idea of it.
Who's your? Do you have a favorite character that gets killed off by the werewolf, Samantha?
Well, Dorcas Trilling had it coming.
Yeah.
The minute we meet her, I was like, "Oh, you're dead. She's
She's
gone."
such a brown nose for the worst guy. It's just terrible.
She had it written all over her. Just like, "Oh, cannon fodder. That's her." Um, but then the fact that she came back and was like haunting him, that was a neat thing.
Yeah.
And she was scarier than the werewolf when she came back with all the blood all over her face.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah, that was kind of a neat way to sort of get more mileage out of the whole situation. We're gonna haunt Quentin with his victims, kind of thing. That was cool.
Yeah. Some of the victims, I think, some of them before they were attacked. I don't know if it was all of them. I can't quite remember that. Where they had the pentangle on their head or the face.
Yeah, as a human, he would see that and know that, oh no, that's my next potential victim.
Yeah.
So yeah,
didn't
he,
Amy see it too?
what's that?
Yeah. Amy saw it too. You're right.
Yes. Amy saw it a couple of times too.
I think she
Yeah.
saw it. In
She saw it. I know she saw it with Joe too. She saw it before he got attacked. So that was the biggie because she actually said, "That's a funny star on your face." It was like, okay,
But the kid is the warning. It's
yeah.
like poor kid doesn't even know what the star means. It's like, okay.
She doesn't
Um,
even know what she's warning about, but she's the warning device, definitely.
See that now that's a shirt that needs made for Dark Shadows. If you see this star on my face, please warn me. Uh, I would wear that. I would wear that for sure. Um, yeah. What did you think about Alex Stevens as the stuntman werewolf, Samantha?
Well, I was rewatching some of the episodes these last 2 days. It was really impressive, especially the high jumps, like where he's up on the banister at the great hallway and jumps right down to the foyer.
Mm-hmm.
That was impressive, and especially since it was all live. And then when Barnabas is beating Quentin Werewolf with his cane, I could I noticed that Alex had padding on his arm, and he had
Yep.
it. So that was really clever. I was like, oh, no wonder he's just hitting that arm because they made it look really good. They did
Yeah.
a great.
Yeah.
Al?
What was the question again? I thought, yeah, I thought, no, I thought he was great. He is the incredible shrinking werewolf. He's much shorter than both of the actors who were 6 feet or better that played the human aspect of the werewolf, and he 5'7" probably at the tallest. Oh, by the way, while I have a moment to promote Samantha's
Yeah.
one of Samantha's books. She also has a coloring book. It's available at Hermes Press. It's also available on Amazon, and it's fantastic. And I have 2 copies of each.
Nice.
Yeah, there's 2 pictures of the werewolves in there. There's this one,
Nice.
Yeah.
classic, and then there's a great detailed one of
Yeah.
Nice.
our Chris Jennings.
Yes.
Alex.
And for those of you that don't know, Alex Stevens was also Frank Sinatra's stuntman for a number of years.
Yeah.
Several of his films.
Because Frank wasn't doing his own.
Well, no.
No, no. Yeah, that's very nice, very nice. But that's the thing too. Like with Stevens, he did such a great job. I love when he comes crashing through the glass of the blue whale. That was so cool. I wanted that for when it was the Leviathan arc. I wanted him to come crashing through the glass and chase like Jeb around. But no, we didn't get that. But this here, we got that. We got him like I always every time I see the werewolf storyline in Dark Shadows, I always think of the Ultimate Warrior theme music because he like literally he shows up, he destroys shit, and he leaves.
And he leaves. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly
And
it.
he uses doorknobs too. It's awesome. He doesn't just like break the door down. He actually uses doorknobs. I think that's pretty cool.
Right.
That's probably a budget thing more than anything else.
Yeah, this
Don't
isn't.
destroy our set.
Yeah, this isn't the Incredible Hulk now.
Yeah.
Where it's Lou Ferrigno, he's getting bigger, and they're just smashing stuff left and right. They do. I do like the fact that the creature has some intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's sort of my next question. What did you guys think of the doorknob thing? Because that is you don't usually see brooding like creatures like that have like intelligence, but no, Dark Show's like we're gonna give him some intelligence here. What did you think of that, Samantha?
I've never, honestly, I don't remember him using a doorknob.
Oh yeah, a couple times. They should have left the door ajar so we could like push it open or whatnot. A couple times they did that too, but he did actually use a doorknob a couple times to escape the room. So
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like having Alex like jump through everything would be sort of like crazy. Like, oh, we can't keep like destroying our sets here. So
I
like,
would imagine that the going through the window, the picture window at the Blue Whale,
mhm,
or in the one at the Evans Cottage that he did later,
mhm.
would have probably been a one shot because
Yeah.
it would be an expensive setup for that show. With all that candy glass and having to mullion it out and all of that sort of stuff. I'm sure it was expensive.
One take and one take only.
Yeah.
Uh, so what Chris, we learned, is a descendant of Quentin Collins, obviously, who was a werewolf in 1897. And we also learned that there was no records of a werewolf in 1897. God bless those Collins family members and lying their asses off.
That's right.
Oh,
Check the family name always.
that's right. That's right. At all costs. And that's sort of the interesting thing, too. And it's going to lead into the next couple of questions is Edith, before we get in, wanted to reveal because she wanted to reveal Barnabas's secret to her. That's what she was going to pass down to Edward. That Barnabas was chained up in the mausoleum. She never gets there. She dies of a stroke or a fright, if you will, whatever you want to chalk it up to. So that's my next set of questions. What did you guys think of Chris being Quentin's descendant? I'll get my words right, I swear. Samantha.
So clever. I was wondering if the writers knew that from the very beginning when they started writing the werewolf storyline. Because I don't know how far in advance do they plan ahead.
Typically, it's like 13 to 26 weeks. So I suppose it's possible. They usually write out sort of a really just a general outline for soaps and other shows that run like that on a daily basis for a certain number of weeks. So they by the time Chris shows up and is well into the storyline, I'm sure that they're already thinking about jumping into the past for sure. But I don't know, how detailed it was.
Can you imagine being in that writer's room, just being a fly on the wall, them
Yeah,
throwing all these ideas out? Like, okay, so there's this guy, and he has a brother, and he's a vampire, but then this one's a werewolf, and then they have a sister, and she can see things, but the other brother's a werewolf because his great grandfather married a gypsy whose sister cursed him into being a werewolf, and now thanks, Grandpa, I'm a werewolf.
yeah.
And they're like, genius, print
Genius, do it.
it up.
That's right. We'll make $1 million.
We're also going to have him run off with his brother's wife, who's a
Oh yeah,
phoenix. It's all good. It's
that's
all
right.
Yeah, run off with your brother's wife, who turns out to be a reincarnation of somebody who was married to Barnabas's brother. No, his uncle.
Yeah. And
And
then
then
ended up being married to his descendant.
Yes.
It's like, yes, incest is best in the Collins family. Uh,
ancestors
yeah, that's right.
Hey, as long as it's in the family, it's all good, right? I mean,
say.
well,
All in the
look,
Family. That's another show.
yeah, yeah, well, look at Joshua. He's wanting Jeremiah to marry Millicent, and I mean, it's
Yeah.
like that's his cousin. It's like okay, um,
They're all
so,
a bunch of bleeders in the end. So,
so what did you guys make of Edith's death? Because even though it has nothing to do with the werewolf in a sense, it does protect Barnabas's secret. We, what did you guys make of that, Samantha?
I always try to think of like, well, what would have happened if she didn't
Right.
have a stroke? If he didn't go back then, does that mean it was passed down to Edward eventually in the original timeline? It's just it gets really convoluted. Like, well, then that means Liz should know.
yeah. So maybe she did take it with her in regular time too. He
Right.
just like hurried it along, you
Yeah.
know. Obviously, he wouldn't have been there to give her the stroke, but
Yeah.
maybe she just had one anyway.
I sort of wonder if that's what happens. And remember Quentin, before Barnabas comes into her room, Quentin goes into her room and is like shaking her around and scares her around a bit. I sort of wonder if it's Quentin that initially gives her the stroke. But because again, when we see somebody go back in time in Dark Shadows, we know it instantly starts to alter things. Like every little movement, it's like a pebble through a goddamn, like a rock through a river. It's like it
Yep,
disturbs it. Um,
ripples
so
in the water.
that's right. That's right. Um, what did you guys make of? Because it's Magda who curses Quentin, as we all know, and that sort of starts this whole craziness of the werewolf. But it's I can't completely fault Magda, but we'll get into that. What did you guys think of Magda Ricose getting vengeance for her sister by cursing Quentin Collins? Samantha?
I thought it was great, but I didn't read or notice that the incantation or the something that she says about the moon. I don't know, I can't even think of it right now, but it was taken pretty much straight from the Wolfman movie, the Lon Chaney Jr. one, right? Because
There,
there's no like classical story literary reference.
no, it would have to, yeah, because it would have to be from a movie or a medieval or post medieval book on werewolves, like from France or something. But that would be it. But yeah, it would have to be from a movie, I would think.
I wonder if the Wolfman movie is where the whole gypsy and werewolf thing came together, if that or if that was an actual medieval.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the Earth legends are with the Roma, whether or not they had werewolves or any of that sort of thing. But certainly, I bet the writers were looking at the Wolfman and seeing, oh, there are gypsies in there. Although, you know, it was a different situation. It's still like, aha, maybe we can have that be part and parcel to the curse existing. Would not
Uh,
surprise me because they were looking for inspiration from all sorts of sources. Obviously, a lot of literature, but um, whereas there's not a lot of classic literature on werewolves, fiction or fantasy kind of literature at least, it makes sense that they would go to a movie or movies.
yeah. It says, even a man who is pure in heart and says his prayers by night may become a werewolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright. Uh,
Yeah,
about that moon. Um, well, that's the thing. Chris is changing even without even without it being a full moon. in back in 1968. So we do see Quentin change when it is the full moon. Both have similar traits because they're related. One's descendant from the other. Quentin is very much a ladies' man. Chris is definitely a ladies' man.
He's not the same kind of ladies' man.
No,
No.
no. Uh, no, I still wonder how Quentin only ended up with two kids, as many as women
Yeah, and only
because
one curse.
look, I love James Bond, but Quentin Collins has had more women than James Bond. Uh, that's a fact.
And there have been like 6 James Bonds or 7 James Bonds. So I mean, come on.
Right, right. I would say that Edith dying again could be Quentin, but when Barnabas comes back and does it, it offsets the family because it's Lewis Edmonds' character says to him, "Hey, did she tell you anything?" Oh no, no, what? No.
Mhm.
Um, it's like, but then with the werewolf with Magda Rakosi Curson, Jenny, who was married to Quentin at some point, which Quentin didn't even know Jenny was in the house until she stabbed him.
Yeah.
Which again by this time, Quentin and the lawyer Evan Hanley have brought Angelique out of hell. Um, Good times. So that's sort of the next question. What do you think, Quentin, with all his women? We know he didn't necessarily treat them all right. Um, what did you think about his relationship with Jenny? Because Quentin drove her crazy, and Samantha.
Oh, that's cool drawing. That's very cool.
Nice.
From our new series, The Curious Characters of Collinwood. And this is our Quentin werewolf. This is the 1897 edition of our book, which will be coming out hopefully by the end of May.
You have
Uh,
1795 out already, don't you?
5 is out, 1897 is next.
Cool.
Cool.
Very cool.
And I'm sorry, what was the question? We were talking about Quentin.
We're promoting
Yeah.
things here, right? No problem.
Right. That's all right. That's okay. My question is, Jenny, who was married to Quentin. We know Quentin is a ladies' man. We know he hasn't always treated women right because he's a
Never.
Collins. He's an entitled jackass at times. Love you, Quentin. But still, what did you think of? Because it's Magda Rakosi who drops the curse on him. What did you think of Jenny and Quentin? Because Jenny gets drove mad by Quentin and does stab him.
I love the big reveal, the way they wrote it that she when you first see Jenny, you're misdirected to think that that's Edward's wife. That threw me off. I was like, oh, okay, wow. And then it unravels and unravels more. And I really didn't see that coming at all. That it was Quentin's wife, and it was just a really cool story. I thought, like really original, the way they
It,
tied
it,
it together.
it
The
kind of
bait.
went back to the Gothic thing too, with her in the tower room and all of that sort of thing. It was kind of cool.
Very cool. And I said it in our last podcast, but I'm dressing up as her this summer. I'm going to be Crazy Jenny at the 60th
Cool.
convention. So if you're going to be
Cool.
there, look for Crazy Jenny.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've already spent too much money on plane tickets and hotel rooms. So yeah, I'll be there. Maybe we'll podcast from there. So
There you go. There
yeah.
you go. Uh, what did you think of Jenny and Quentin's relationship?
Well, obviously, she is the crux of how he treats people in general at this point in his life. He has never treated a woman well, at least none of the ones that we've seen, beyond buying them a few drinks and then taking their honor. That's not exactly treating them well. So yeah, I mean, and I take it back. He actually has suffered 2 curses because he ended up a zombie for a while. So all of that. Um, and he certainly deserved that knife in the chest. Of course, we didn't want to see him leave the show or anything, but
Oh,
he kind of deserved that. And so that was a nice little sidebar before we get to the main curse. We got this little zombie thing going on, and Angelique is, playing head games with Barnabas and all of that sort of thing. So Jenny plays a very important, vital role in that early sort of character development of a lot of the people and how they respond to her and why she's the way she is. And what does that say about Quentin? What does that say about Edward? What does that say about all of them? That they've got her locked up in a room somewhere, Again, getting back to preserving the family name kind of thing.
and nobody in the family name currently has had a stable marriage or
No,
relationship. It all
no,
goes to shit, right?
no, exactly. I mean, one of them's married to a Phoenix, the other one married a Roma girl and then abandoned her for a Phoenix who was married to his brother. And then you have Judith, who has terrible luck after waiting so long to get married. Uh, she ends up marrying a shyster, a charlatan minister who is actually a gold digger. So,
They said that the best relationship of 1897 is Sandor and Magda.
yep,
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
Totally.
Who aren't Collinses? So good
No, that's
job,
right.
guys.
Right. Good job.
Good job. You lucked out on not being a Collins, so you could have a nice marriage.
That's right.
Sandor, unfortunately for you, buddy, your wife's gonna steal the hand of Patofe, and you're gonna get a knife in the back. But it's
Well, see,
okay.
if they had never been exposed to the Collinses, none of that would have happened. So,
That's right. That's right. Don't become friends with the Collins. Don't associate with them.
criminal drama.
Right, right. I will say too, what I find interesting is you have you have Angelique, Barnabas's wife. You have Jenny, Quentin's ex-wife or wife, who he doesn't know is around
Still,
in the great
still
house.
wife. I don't think they.
Still wife, right? And when she hears the music, it drives her crazy. They find each other, he's like, Jenny is like,
Yeah.
and then she stabs him. And Angelique, because she wants to play head games with Barnabas, like you alluded to, she turns Quentin into a zombie, which leads to Gregory Trask to the rescue, who somehow unzombifies Quentin and turns him normal.
He doesn't do that.
Yeah, I thought it was Angelique.
Yeah,
Angelique does it and
Angelique
lets
does it.
him think he did it.
Lets him think he does it, right?
Yeah.
Um, but hey, great head game, right?
Yep.
Um,
Absolutely. Just it's
uh,
a flex. It's an Angelique flex. Let's say.
yeah. Yeah, and that's like Angelique comment, like when you killed Reverend Trask back in 1795, that really made me happy. Like, wait, what? Yeah. So Angelique's playing head games with everybody, including Gregory Trask, who's not real. Well, not real in the sense of he's not really a religious man, and
No,
he likes to abuse children.
he's a con
After
job. Basically, he's a con
yes,
job.
yes, he is. Now, Quentin actually, in the werewolf form, ends up in prison, but nobody could tell it's Quentin because he's still in a werewolf makeup. I like how they actually have David Selby in the makeup a bit, which is really cool.
When he comes out of it after he's been touched by the hand.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that because it gives Alex Stevens a bit of a break. But because again, no one knows how to use the hand of Patofe
Right.
unless you're Patofe. What did you guys think of Quentin being in jail and still being in the werewolf makeup, Samantha?
I was wondering, like, okay, they got him. This is it. He's gonna turn and story's over. They know it's him, and there's no way he's gonna get out of this. And then of course he turns into
He
Clay
has
or
has
whatever.
the Evan Hanley look. Uh,
I was
yeah.
like, oh, so that's clever. You got us.
Yeah. There's actually a picture of him holding that face prosthesis after he changes back to Quentin, where his face is all messed up.
Oh,
Uh,
I haven't.
yeah, there's a photograph of him that was taken by one of the magazine photographers.
Cool. Cool. Uh, yeah, when his face goes back to normal, he's like,
Yeah.
"Is it all good? Is it all good?" Like anybody
After
should.
wandering around the Collinsport and Collinwood with the worst case of acne anybody ever
Yes.
had for about 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah. Who? Okay, out of Quentin, Chris. Now I know it's all Alex Stevens playing the werewolf for the most part, which cool. Uh, who is your favorite werewolf? Is it Chris or is it Quentin? Samantha?
There's pros and cons for both. Okay, I like the Quentin one because I love a good origin story, but I'm sorry, I love David Selby, but every time he transformed, he ate that scenery so hard. It was like, oh, eh, oh, and like he would just make terrible faces and noises, and it's like, dial it back, buddy, dial it back. And it just is just so bad. I'm sorry, David.
Yeah,
Am
he
I
was
wrong?
writher. He was a total writher.
It was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, man. But then Chris was so sad. Like it bummed me out. They chained him up, they beat him. He was just in agony. He doesn't know why this is happening to him. So it just breaks my heart. But
Mm.
so they have it's a little bit of they both have their pros and cons.
Yeah. Alan?
I like Chris better because it's the first time we ever see it, and they really sort of string it out a little while. Like you don't see him when Mr. Wells buys the farm. You only see the result of it and him dragging him down the hall to, I don't know, eat his leg bone or something. I have no idea why he's dragging him down the hall. But anyway, uh, and then you hear him growling at Liz, but you don't see him again because Amy shows up and sort of rescues Liz, and he runs off. Obviously, there's some recognition there deep down inside of his subconscious, at least, when he's a werewolf. So I do think that's another thing. I think the werewolf has some intellect, but it's almost totally divorced from conscious. You know, and also I like the idea that it's not Chris's fault. With Quentin, it's his fault. He is responsible for being cursed. With Chris, it's being handed down to the firstborn male of succeeding generations thing, which is why his Quentin's son dies, but his daughter carries it without becoming a werewolf herself. And Lenore, I guess it was her name. And so by the time we get to Chris, there's no connection until we end up solving the growing mystery through time travel and everything else. So I just do I like the Chris story a lot because and it was also I remember it vividly from being a kid. There are other characters from 1968 that I didn't remember until I watched the show again. Like for some reason I completely forgot about Nicholas Blair until I watched the show again in the 90s. And then it was like, oh, how did I forget him? It was one of those weird things, but I was really obsessed with the werewolf when I was a little kid. So, and that was Chris Jennings at that time before 1897.
Well, in your defense, as the host of this channel, I'll come to your defense. In your defense, okay, are you going to remember the last name Blair when you see teeth, when you see fangs? No, in fact,
Well,
no, you're not going to remember anybody with the last name Blair. You're going to think about the bloodthirsty werewolf who tears flesh apart because as a kid, it's cool.
yeah, it's
Um,
cool and it's scary at the same time when you're like 8, 9 years old. So,
Right, right. So you don't have to worry about that. That's the anybody with the name Blair, as long as you see cool stuff happening.
yeah.
But I will
But I mean,
say,
let's face it, Nicholas Blair is extremely cool.
yes, he is.
So,
Humbert Allen Alstrado, cooler than the other side of the pillow. That
yeah.
I mean, literally. But what I do love most about I like Quentin the most. Now, I'm not just saying that because I'm from Pennsylvania and David Selby's from West Virginia. Um, so,
Yeah, you are kind of neighbors there.
yeah, just a bit. I've been to West Virginia a number of times as a teenager. But I will say that David Selby is does build himself eventually as sympathetic.
Yes.
The, that whole prison sequence with him just standing behind the bars, the whole hand of Potofe thing. Yeah, I mean he's a womanizer, but I mean what Mel Collins isn't? God damn it!
It's the curse that starts his character development away from being a total cad.
Yes,
It really
and,
is.
and I think what tops it off too, the death of his son.
Yeah.
That whole heartbreaking, like, okay, you got me. You got me.
Yeah.
As much as I want to point the finger, I mean, it is his fault that he's in this situation, and Magda's, because he's been a womanizer. And I mean, I do love how they imply the gypsies here better than in the Wolfman. I think the gypsies are far more important here than they are in the
Yes.
Wolfman.
Yes.
Give the writer, give the devils their due
Hmm.
for coming up with that, because that was one hell of a genius move.
Yeah.
Because the gypsies are still a character in Dark Shadows today. If you started, okay, you'd have to include the gypsies as
Yes.
characters.
They're important, as you said before. They're very important to the development of the story, and also the reason for Quentin's being ultimately.
So I have a question for Samantha. What's your favorite werewolf drawing in your book or your?
Oh, this one is really
Oh,
cool. I didn't draw this one though. George Hernandez did. I just did the coloring and shading. Um,
cool.
the I'm pretty proud of the way the paper doll one came out. Where is it?
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, he looks sentient, and he looks exact. Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
he's focused. It's awesome.
Yeah, Jim Pearson had a lot of input on this werewolf. He went through quite a bit, making sure there was enough of the flesh showing, and we went over. There's quite a few iterations to where we made it just perfect. So
Cool.
I like the way he turned out. That was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Getting every hair right, pretty much.
So my dog's broken. But speaking of creature, but yeah, if you can hear me at all, uh,
Yep.
what's out of all the scenes we get with the werewolf, what are some of you guys' favorites with Chris and Quentin, Samantha?
I'm sorry, what was that first part?
Sorry. Uh, with all the werewolf sequences we get, with what are some of your favorites of Chris's and Quentin's?
I don't know. Like again, Chris's are all so sad. I guess okay, I got one. For Chris, the moon poppy scene, because you're rooting for him and he holds that moon poppy like, okay, he's gonna do it, he's gonna eat it, and then like, oh, nah, that wasn't gonna happen. Um, but that was a really interesting idea. So I'm gonna say the moon poppy for Chris.
Uh, what about Quentin? I mean,
I can't really think of one for Quentin. I guess just that first one where he's in the house and Beth has the necklace and she's pointing it at him, and it's just this really great shot of her fending him off with the necklace. It just I actually wanted to include that in the coloring book, but I couldn't capture it. It was just such a great moment.
Alan, what's your favorite
Well,
werewolf moment
I
from
have boy
Chris?
sensibilities when it comes to this, so I've got two things for Chris, and the first one is when he hurls himself through the window of the Evans cottage and has this highly choreographed and very effective fight with Joe, which I assume Alex Stevens choreographed. And you know, it's kind of it was it was a one-shot deal, I think, in some respects, but what they ended up doing is splicing together when the first half of the fight with a second half when they came back the next day or the next week, whenever that was. So, I mean, that took a lot of planning and a lot of doing, and I thought it worked out really well. I thought it was pretty cool. Um, the second one was when he was shadowing and stalking Carolyn through the woods. That was spooky and interesting and a very you know sort of wondering, oh my God, what's going to happen next the first time you see it. So that I thought was really effective and cool. And then with Quentin, yeah, that whole thing that ends with Beth fending him off, which starts with him um, jumping down off of the balcony in the foyer and going after Judith. So that was a pretty cool sequence as well.
Yeah, some of my favorites are with Chris is the I know it's Alex Stevens, the crash to the Blue Whale I've talked about.
Yeah.
The Barnabas beating him with the cane is really cool.
Yep.
In the mausoleum, it's just awesome because it gives Barnabas his cane another use too, and it makes the werewolf. Okay, silver is obviously the weakness of the werewolf. Why not? Silver bullets kill a werewolf. Um, my favorite with Quentin, just to David Selby's going into the transformation of the werewolf is really good. He feels the pain of it too. It's kooky. I do agree with some that a bit, but I love the way he does it because it is you want a difference between Chris and Quentin, not just the size, but how they go into their transformation. You see a lot of Chris's pain where he's laying on the floor, he is getting beat when he's the werewolf at times. But with Quentin, it's different. He's literally like going into these convulsions that are really cool. Um, that I love. So I have no more questions. Is there anything you guys want to, guys want to add before we go?
It's probably good to note that this makeup was the exclusive labor of Vinny Lascalzo, and I thought he did a fantastic job developing this particular kind of makeup so that it was scary but not ridiculously terrifying for kids to watch. But it's I guess it was like a 3 hour process or something like that, at least when they started it. And so for Alex bringing it to life is also, I think, an important aspect to consider. Under the pressure of that kind of, we were cranking out half an hour every day and having to come in at 4 o'clock in the morning to get into this makeup and stay in it all day, having it touched up and all of this sort of thing. Must have been challenging.
Okay, I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Who would you rather have chase you? A vampire or a werewolf? Who's scarier? Or I guess who's less scary?
We're talking about the type of vampires and werewolves on Dark Shadows.
Yes.
Probably a vampire for me because it might stand a chance of at least surviving an attack. Where was a werewolf, you got no chance unless you got armed with silver or silver, silver bullets or whatever.
Exactly. That's why that makes them so scary. You can't bargain with the werewolf. You can't
No,
plead for your life. You can't seduce it like you
no.
could.
It's just
It's like,
once
spare me.
you.
It's like trying to bargain with the shark in Jaws. It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
I would say a vampire is a lot more scary because just like but they both have their own same script. You have to know that it was after you too. You're not going to know a vampire is after you. Just like I think with a werewolf, the chance you would have is the sound of the growling.
You know
Yeah,
he's coming.
yeah.
Sneak up
You at
on.
least you get the sound effect. It's kind of like a rattlesnake. You know it's
Yeah,
there.
well, if you know there's one in the area, you can at least be bristling with weaponry of all kinds, and silver weaponry. But I suppose, but that's still
You know what my motto is with werewolves? The only good
What?
werewolf is a dead one.
well.
Anyway, have your silver bullets handy,
Yes, please.
um, especially when you live in the mountains. Anyway, no, I'm kidding.
You guys
That's
got werewolves up there? I bet you do. I bet you have
yeah.
werewolf legends up there.
I'm sure everybody in what here in Western Pennsylvania in the mountains will tell you a werewolf legend that is not true at all.
Yes, yes.
Like, do you hear yourself? Oh my gosh. Um, First of all, I want to thank Samantha and Alan for joining me tonight. This was a lot of fun. Samantha, Alan, you guys want to come back next week? Next weekend?
Sure. Pick a topic, any topic.
Let's
Pick a
talk
day
how.
that's convenient because I can do it most any night.
There you go. Let's talk a Dark Shadows movie. Let's talk House of Dark Shadows
Cool.
because it's a lot of fun. And I own it on. And hey, we all own it. I'm sure we all own the DVD, right?
Yeah, I used to own the VHS.
What's that? No, I know what that is. Oh my god. Hey, I was at good real quick. I was at Goodwill. I saw an 8-track tape. There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
Uh, uh, Again, thank you both. Link to Samantha's books are going to be in the description box. You can get them on Amazon. Link to Alan Gallant's YouTube channel, Collinsport After Dark, is going to be in the description box. You both have a safe and wonderful night.
So